So we'll start on the back, do some, a few somatic warm-ups as we've been doing. So that, you don't feel quite so stiff. So. Laying on the back with the knees bent. And just really letting go into the ground. Feel your feet touching the ground. And then going to the pelvis. Try to sense if you're balanced on your pelvis. One side is heavier, more weighted into the ground or the other. And, just adjust yourself, kind of move around, lift one side, do whatever you need to do to try to bring some evenness to your pelvis. So you're starting off in a balanced way. So that's as much for your mind as it is for your body. And actually probably even more for your mind, because your mind senses all of what's going on inside, whether you're conscious of it or not, and that it's doing that. And so anytime things are not symmetrical, that's going to take resources from your mind and your brain. So it's really good, helpful to start in the most balanced way you can, in the most in the healthiest position of the body that you can. And so then go to your shoulder blades and feel the shoulder blades. See how much of your shoulder blades are connected to the ground. And especially pay attention to the tops of the shoulder blades close to the actual shoulder, because that's the part of the back that tends to roll forward. So take your arms out of about shoulder height, and if you've got your palms turned down, turn the whole arm bones up. So from your shoulder joint, turn the arms up, and then press on your arms in the back of your head, lift your shoulder girdle up, pull your shoulder blades down your back, and then catch them with your mat, by putting down the very bottom of the shoulder blade first, and then just laying the rest of the back down. And you should be able to feel, that the shoulder blades have kind of gotten caught and pulled down a bit, lifting and opening your chest, maybe getting the top of your shoulder blades down towards the floor a little closer. So this is really important, especially at the beginning of a practice in which we're going to be, doing shoulder stand. We need our shoulders to be mobile and ready. So then
on 60 something, when you turn on the TV, the volume's gonna be 60 something.
So Lisa,
Yes.
should I mute you guys? I know it's hard.
I'll do it.
Should I mute you guys?
I'll just do it.
Okay, so just unmute yourself if you need me. Okay, so I forgot where I was going. Doesn't take much these days to forget. Oh yeah, so just kind of draw the base of your skull up away from your back a little bit so that the chin drops. Just feel that length in your neck. And then just kind of roll your head from side to side on the base of your skull. So don't let your chin pop up. Just feel the stretch in your neck as you're rolling on that base. And then just find the center. And now let's rotate from the shoulder joints. First, just gliding the arms down by your sides. So try to keep your arms on the side. And if you've ever done snow angels, or at least know what snow angels are, we're gonna do that sweeping motion out to the side, down towards the hips, and then sweeping them out, trying to keep them on the ground the whole time, at least a finger. The whole arm doesn't need to be down, but some connection. And just sweeping the arms. You can let the arm bones turn in the socket if they're wanting to do that. You don't need to force that. And this really can help us know just how tight we are in our shoulders this morning. And then just keep the arms down by your hips with the palms down and relax. And then let's inhale, take the arms overhead, hook your thumbs. So the palms are towards the ceiling, hook the thumbs, and just reach all the way over your head, pulling your thumbs apart. And then releasing that, bringing the arms by the side, lift the hips a little bit. Palms are facing the floor now. Hook your thumbs again and pull your thumbs apart with your hands underneath the hips, but the pelvis is up. Now roll your shoulder blades towards one another and just pull those thumbs apart. Now lower, keep your hands where they are. Lower your hips down onto your hands. And you can let your thumb cross go. Hopefully your hands will stay together with your hips down on them. You don't need to hook your thumbs. So just feel that kind of beginning opening in your shoulders and a little bit of arch in the back. Now push down with your arms and your hands and pull one knee to your chest. So keep pressing the arms, of course, pulling one knee into the chest. You're really going to be putting weight into your arms. That's a really good thing as we age because it helps to build some bone or at least stimulate bone. And then see if you can pull the other knee in with it. And just let your weight, try to not resist the weight. It may feel uncomfortable, but just see if you can not resist the discomfort. And then put your feet back on the ground and release your arms now. Take them out to the sides and turn the palms up. Turn the arms out again. So make sure you're rolling your shoulder blades down and towards one another. And then once again, just take the arms overhead, reach them overhead, and then separate your legs wider than your pelvis. And begin to windshield wiper your legs from side to side, kind of feeling your side waist, feeling the hips, kind of checking in, seeing kind of how you're doing, how tight your hips may feel this morning, or how loose. And then bring the knees back. Keep stretching your arms now and straighten your legs out. Reach your legs right out of the hips. Pull your toes back. Press your thighs down. And walk your heels away from the head and pull your arms away from your feet. Now find your breath. Don't hold your breath here. Still want your breath to be nice and smooth and easy. And then release the arms down and rebend the knees. And then pull your right knee into your chest. Cross it over your left. And bring your left arm diagonally out to the side. And as you drop your legs to the right, reach that left arm. And kind of play around with your head and just see which direction, that you turn your head feels the best. And then bring the knees back up and everything kind of back to neutral. And just, go in and out of this a few times. And then come back and release back to neutral, and just a breath or two to let all of that integrate into your nervous system. Take the left leg over the right arm up, and do the same thing on this side. And then come back and come back to neutral. So we'll go ahead and do that psoas stretch. So lay on your right side and just rest your head on that right arm and bring your right knee into chair shape. And bring your left leg forward so you can see your foot. And then swing it all the way back behind you. Keep your big toe on the ground throughout the whole swing so that you're controlling, it's really not a swing. It's more of just a movement to warm up the hip that's supported by the ground. Just go back and forth, kind of feel how this moves your waist and your spine in and out, kind of like a cat-cow, but coming from a very, very different place than cat-cow, and obviously asymmetrical and not symmetrical. And then this time, leave your leg back, get it back, to a point where you really do feel that stretch on the front of your hip. And then take your left arm and reach it up and towards the left. Towards the right. Left arm reaches to the right and up, like you're reaching something on a tall shelf if you were standing. And then breathe. Psoas is such a powerful muscle, it can take a while for it to release. So we just kind of have to be patient. Give it time. And then just use your whatever techniques you may have to help you to relax. Maybe you imagine a scene in your mind that relaxes you, maybe someplace in nature or a place that you love to go, the ocean, something like that. Just kind of imagine yourself there as you're holding this. And then just bring your knees together. Just relax, take a deep breath. And then we're going to bring the right arm out of the shoulder and put the left hand on top of it. And let's do the chest opener, shoulder opener. So we'll be taking the left hand in a big arc above the head and all the way over to the left, opening the upper body to the left. Now your knees are most likely not going to stay together. That's okay, but try to minimize how much they come apart. Don't just roll all the way over to the left. Try to resist the lower body going to the left. So the belly will turn to the left, the ribs to the left, chest to the left, but we're leaving the pelvis and the legs kind of anchored to the right so that they kind of provide this nice, support for the opening of the upper body. So just do it a couple of more times, opening out, and then just stay there. A much harder part. Just stay there. You may want to literally lift your torso a little bit and shift it to the right so that you can get more on your back. And then make sure your head and neck's in a good place. And go back to whatever was helping you to relax. Some place, some sound, anything, maybe a person or an animal, something that is comforting. Just kind of hold that in your mind if you can and just relax. Let your shoulders be heavy. And then begin to bring that left arm back to the right. And then roll back onto your back. Pause. And then we'll do it on the left side. And bring the left knee forward, right leg down. And then bring that leg forward first so you can see your foot. And then start to sweep it in that big arc. Next time you go back with your leg, hold it back with the foot, toe on the floor. And then reach that right arm to the left and up. And then use whatever you're using to help you to relax. And then bring your knees together and your arm back. And then bring your left arm out of the shoulder and your just join your right hand to the left hand. And then we'll start to make that big arc with the right arm to the right. And back. I'm just doing that several times. And then the next time you open up, stay open. If you like, it's always, I always find it helpful to literally lift my torso and kind of get more on my back. Just feel the belly as it tries to roll to the right. Trying to keep the legs as close together as you can. And then just bring that, you can just bring that right arm back to join the left. And we're just going to turn over and come into a child's pose. Just pushing your hips back. And then let's take the arms, sweep them back and put the back of the hands on your sacrum. And we'll do a few vinyasas to just, again, further warm the body. So press down into your shin bones to stand up onto your knees and bring your arms overhead. And as you exhale, sit back and bring your arms forward. back to a child's pose. And then come up onto hands and knees and just bring your pelvis forward. You can turn your toes under if you need to. Shoulder blades down the back, a little weight on those wrists. Sorry, Peggy, I didn't think about this part. And then coming all the way back to child's pose. And then again, push down into your shins, lift from your navel to bring your arms up. So we're going to do this a little differently now. So as you exhale, take your right arm forward, your left hand back on your sacrum. Inhale, bring both arms up over your head. Exhale, other side. Inhale, come up. This time, both arms back to the sacrum as you come down. And if you need a blanket, come all the way up. And then both arms down. So we're going to do that again. So if your head isn't reaching the ground while your hips are back, you may want to get a blanket or two so you can have something to touch. So here we go again. Inhale, both arms overhead. Now lift your belly up. Lift and get long through your spine. As you exhale, bringing the right arm forward, left arm back. And then inhaling, coming all the way up. Exhaling, down with the other pair. Inhaling up. Exhaling, both arms back. Inhaling up. And then exhale, release both arms down. So one more like that. Inhale up. Right arm forward, left arm back, exhaling. Inhaling up. Other pair. Inhaling up. Exhaling, both arms back. And inhaling up. Good. Now we'll stand up. So come all the way up to standing. So we're going to inhale, take the arms up. And we're going to exhale, and we're going to come halfway over, reaching the arms up, out, excuse me. Really strengthen your legs by pulling up on the kneecaps, and then inhale and come up. Exhale, release the arms down. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, come over halfway, reaching with the arms, keeping the navel up. This time, exhale and go ahead and fall all the way over. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, arms by your side. Again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, get to that halfway. Try and check out, make sure your spine's long. Head is in line with your arms. And exhale, go ahead and fold all the way over. Inhale, take the arms forward and up. Exhale, bring the arms by your side. Okay, so let's now go ahead and come into, and this is where you may want your chair and possibly a bolster. You don't have to use that. If you're fairly flexible in your hamstrings, you don't need to use that. This is only if you feel like you need more support. And actually, I'll go ahead and do it since it looks like everybody else is. And have your blocks. Go ahead and have your blocks. And let's just take a little bit of time to really open up the backs of the legs. And if, again, you don't have to have your bolster either, you know, if you don't need that much height, you know, don't take it. So standing in front of your chair, having your blocks down there by your chair legs, yes. And John, if you have your bolster, you may not have your bolster there, probably don't. But if you have like a pillow, you know, if you have your, well, look at you, you do have a bolster there. And just lay it flat across your chair seat, like that. Good. Okay, so we're just gonna come down and put your head, hopefully, maybe, it may still be too low for you, John, because you're so tall. So you may want, well, just you can help, just stay like that, actually. Just keep your arms straight, don't go over any further, so that your legs, the back of the legs can start to open, okay? So I'm gonna go further, but I'm not suggesting you do. I want you to just push on the backs of your legs, lift your kneecaps up. And so long as you can hold that, you can go over further. So if you have the flexibility to go over further, and then if you have your head on your chair seat, you probably won't need your blocks. You can just put your hands flat on your mat. And we're just gonna hold this. So I want you to, really go into your legs though, and just see if you can feel what you're doing to make the legs lengthen more on the back. So notice how pulling up your kneecaps stretches your hamstrings more. But I want to again just suggest that you lift up from the back of the knee towards your sit bones. So just imagine you're pulling, somebody's got their hands on the backs of your thighs and they're pulling up. They even feel like your heels are lifting or they're getting lighter. And then from the backs of your knees, reach down through your calves into your heels. And so you got to balance those two so you don't let one override the other, so that your legs are just really opening from the backs of the knees. And then just see what happens if you gently press your heels away from one another. We're not trying to roll the knees in. We're just trying to pull the sit bones a little wider so that the pelvis can tip over the legs a little more clearly, a little more cleanly. And then just notice if your shoulder blades are where they are, and if they're up around your ears, pull them down and roll your arm bones out. And notice if you're balanced evenly on both legs, and bring balance if it's, lacking. And then take your hands to your chair seat and push yourself all the way back up. Okay. So just gonna say, if you want to get your hamstrings more open, you have to practice with straight legs. If you bend your knees when you're trying to stretch your hamstrings, you're contracting them and they won't ever really open fully. So it's better to just go only as far as you can while the legs are straight and hold it until they start to loosen up. Okay, so now, again, flexibility and when I say, depending on your flexibility, sometimes I think in yoga, we hear that and we go, oh, well, if I'm really flexible, then that's really good. And if I'm not, then that's really bad. No, flexibility makes everybody's different. And not And flexibility plays a very small role. It has really nothing to do with yoga. You're not doing yoga to get more flexible. That's not the only thing. You know, you're also trying to get stronger, you're trying to get more functional, you're trying to join your mind and your body, you're trying to be more aware, all those things. Flexibility is only just one thing that does tend to happen. It's just one of the results that tends to come, but it's not the point. Okay, so spread your legs really wide, turn your feet in and let your legs roll in. And then again, you use what you need in order to do this to your best, to your body's best interest. And so we're just going to do a twisted Prasarita Padottanasana. So just a twisted wide leg forward fold. So depending on your flexibility, you might have your chair in front of you with your bolster on it. That's fine. So we're going to take the arms out to the side. And we're going to take the right hand down onto the block at whatever level or the chair and reach the other arm straight up to the ceiling. Now, I want you to feel your pelvis and just try to balance it as best as you can. You know, it's going to want to probably shift. You know, that right hip is going to want to shift to the left. Try to hold your pelvis in a balanced way as much as you can, which means that that's going to affect how much you can open your shoulder. So if bringing the arm all the way out of the shoulder is too much on the shoulder, bring the arm forward a little bit and work more on opening from your ribs. Turn your ribs. The arm will go as far as you turn your ribs. And then release and come back up. And then go to the other side. And again, really reach it up there. Notice, a lot of times, you know, you can twist a lot going in one direction and the other direction is just, you meet a lot of resistance. So one side is often quite easier than the other side. And then inhale and come up. And lower your arms. And heel toe, heel toe. And we're going to come back into a child's pose. Coming back down onto the floor. Hips back. Widen your knees wide enough that you can fit your your ribs between your thighs. And then relax. Prop your head if you need to keep your hips back. And then we're going to stretch out onto our bellies. And have enough space to reach your arms out in front of you. And then roll your thighs in from the front so that you're on the very center of your thigh muscle. And then reach your legs back and press your pubic bone down. And then we're going to just lift your head and your shoulders and then bring your arms up as high as you can to feel the strength of the back or the lack of it. Lower back down. Now, once again, reach back with your legs, forehead on the floor. So you really need your arms straight. And then lift your head. Now begin to lift and reach from your side ribs to bring the arms up. So you got to straighten your arms, John. Straighten your arms. Reach for Lisa. Now lift your head up higher than your arms. There you go. Reach with your arms, now lower back down. Don't let your legs come up. Keep your legs on the ground, okay? We're trying to assess how much strength we have in our upper back, okay? So we're gonna do it one more time. Now that I've told you kind of what the point of this is, I want you to really try to assess your strength in your upper back. So go for it again. Keep your legs on the ground. Lift your head and try to lift your chest and then lift your arms. Feel those muscles of your upper back. Make sure you're not using your low back. Keep that pubic bone down. Lift up as high as you can. This tells us how your shoulder stand is going to be, or if you're even ready for it. And then come back down. Okay. So not everybody, I think, is ready for shoulder stand for the strength that it takes to do the full version of shoulder stand. So I will definitely be giving some options on that. So let's go ahead and lay on our back now. Just keep your arms by your side for a moment. And then take your arms and reach them overhead. And just open up your fingers and kind of press the fingernails down into the ground. And as I want you to reach your arms, but I also want you to suck the arm bones back into the shoulder socket. So you elongate through your arms so that they are stretching and active, but then you want to pull the bones back into the shoulder joints so you're not just, overstretching your shoulders. Now, press your sacrum down into the ground and the backs of your ribs down into the ground and your shoulder blades. Try to elongate your neck. Now, draw both knees into your chest without losing your connection to your back. So pull both knees to your chest. Pull them in as close as you can, even if it means your bottom is starting to come off the ground. So kind of testing to see how strong our hip flexors are. So if you can't get your knees fully into your trunk, you may need some strength in your hip flexors. Again, important for shoulder stand. So as you press now down into your fingernails, pressing down into your sacrum, start to send your legs straight up out of your hips. Now, press down more with your arms and your sacrum to get the legs to really reach up. Now, for some of us, we tend to overdo. Erin, there you go. So we want to make sure that our feet are over our hips, not more forward. So that sounds like, oh, that would be easier, but it's actually harder because you have to use more core strength. So pressing those shoulders down, pressing those ribs down, pressing the sacrum down. And the fingernails, really important, all 10 of them. Okay, so now hold that and start to lower your legs about another 20 degrees. As you do that, make sure that you're not letting your back pop up. So keep your back down and lower again. See if you can go to about 50 degrees, about halfway. Check your neck, make sure you're not tensing your neck. Now inhale, pull the legs back and bend the knees into the chest. Pull them in close. Feet to the floor and arms by your side and relax. Take some deep breaths. Exhale out through the mouth. Okay. Again, take your arms over your head. Press your fingernails down. You know all the spots now. And on an exhale, pull your knees to your chest. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, send your straight legs straight up out of the hip sockets, reaching up through your toes, using the strength of your legs to keep your back down and your back down to help your legs lift. Reach the arms, press them. Now start to lower down about 20 degrees. Keep that connection. It's okay if things shake. Go a little further. Keep everything strong. Pubic bone in towards the navel. A little bit lower. We're going all the way this time. Go down a little bit more. Start to get about 25 degrees. Then get all the way down to about 5 degrees away from the floor. And then bring the legs up to about 50. And then back to 100. Bend your knees, lower your arms, and put your feet on the floor. Ah. Wow, that's really good. Okay. So let's take bridge pose. You'll feel really good after that because it stretches the front. So first of all, I want you to roll your arm bones out from way up at the shoulder. Palms roll up. Then from your elbows towards your hands, turn them over so the palms are face down. Feet are hip width apart and in close to your sit bones. Now press the top of the sacrum into the ground. Press your outer arm bones down. Take a couple of breaths here. And then on your next inhale, lift from your tailbone. Come up a little bit. Pause, inhale. Try to get the tops of your shoulders down and start to let your neck stretch. On your next exhale, press the tailbone up again until you start to feel a stretch in your thigh muscles, in those hip flexors. Inhale. As you exhale, see if you can come up a little higher, but only from the tailbone. You're not pushing from your low back. We're not pushing up with the ribs. Now, I want you to bend at your elbows. See if you can get your hands to cradle your pelvis. So the fingers are wrapping around towards the front of the pelvis. Thumbs are pointing towards your sacrum. Just try to get them under there without letting your elbows go real wide. Keep your elbows in close to one another. Not, like ridiculously so, but just so your wrist and your elbows and your shoulders are in a line. And then release the hands and slowly lower back down. So roll to your side now and I would love it if you had 3 blankets, but I don't think most of you do. So just get 2 and open them up beyond that usual first, fold, and stack them with the clean edge where you're going to place your neck, okay? And then get your strap. And just have your strap by your side. And actually go ahead and get a block and put your block at the fringe side on its flattest side. So you have kind of a launch pad. Now we're just doing bridge. We're not going into shoulder stand, but this is a good practice for strengthening the upper back and just starting to feel the setup. And so we're going to sit on that block, and you're going to lie back so that your neck, everything's on the blanket, your neck, except the base of your skull, and obviously everything above that. And then make sure your strap is right there. Bend up your knees. Roll those shoulder blades onto your back. However you do that, I hope everybody knows what that means, to roll your shoulder blades onto your back. You want the shoulder blades moving towards one another. If someone doesn't know what I mean when I say roll your shoulder blades onto your back or get your shoulder blades onto your back, please unmute yourself if you need to, or if you're not muted, just tell me you don't understand that, because it's critical to so many things that we do to understand that action. Okay, now from here, just put your hands on the floor, palms down. And again, from your tailbone, start to lift. And you may find that you can lift way higher when you have this propping. And the other thing that this does is really protect your neck. Okay, so if you were to go into shoulder stand from here, all that weight from your whole body, even though you're on your shoulders and not your neck, still does risk putting, overextending, over flexing your neck muscles. Okay, so now get your strap and put it between your hands. Try to reach it over that block. So take the strap to the opposite or the lower side of the block. Start to pull the strap apart. Just notice how that helps to open your chest. But keep just lifting from your tailbone, not your ribs, not your belly, just your tailbone. Squeeze your inner thighs and then slowly roll back down and relax. Okay, so here we go again. So roll those arm bones out and begin to lift from your tailbone. Now this time, I want you to even roll your arm bones out more. Pull that strap apart. Then release the strap. And again, just like you did, it may be a little harder because you're now got your elbows up on height. But I still want you to try to get your hands underneath your pelvis. Okay, so just like you tried to do it before, thumbs are towards the sacrum, fingers wrapping around the front of the pelvis. Okay, so you got to be higher, obviously, because you're making up the space of those two blankets. So if you can't get there, don't worry too much. Just do the best you can. Release the hands, roll back down. Relax. Okay, so just move your block for a moment and get your chair and bring your chair in a little closer to you. You may have to go up and down a few times to really see what is the best place for your chair. But I'm gonna just watch me for a moment, just so you know where you're going. And I'm placing my block this time more lengthwise rather than crosswise. But this is kind of like my launching pad. So I can already see I need to have my chair a little closer because I'm going to lay back. Well, And I'm gonna put my feet, got my heels in on the chair seat. So from here, I'm gonna roll my arm bones out. I'm gonna reach underneath me to find my strap so that I can keep my chest open. And I'm rolling the arm bones out and as I pull the strap apart, and then I'm just gonna lift. So now I can get a really good height because I've got the chair, okay? So I'm just gonna walk my feet in as much as I can. Now I'm lifting from my tailbone. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can just put my hands, this time I'm not wrapping them, around. I'm just kind of getting them back there on the back of my pelvis. And then I'm just gonna pull one knee in and try to stretch it up as I'm holding my hips. I'm gonna do the other side, okay? So I'm really making the effort to keep my chest up, my pelvis up, and then just one leg at a time, okay? And then we'll roll out. So your turn. Do not have a chair. Do you have your chair, John? I can't see it. Okay. So put your feet in your chair and come onto your heels right at the very front edge. So get your feet all the way on your chair. Erin, there you go. If you need to pull it closer, the closer it is, it's the easier it's going to make it. Now, John, I would highly recommend you take your socks off. You need to have as much connection. These are challenging poses that, everything has a little bit of danger to it. So, okay, so now start to get those arm bones open using your strap, really rolling those arms out, pulling that strap apart, press down on your arms, lift your hips up by pushing down into your heels and pressing up. Peggy, I think you'll have much more success if you bring your chair a lot closer. Bringing the knees in from there is going to be really hard. So really close to you. Okay, now lift your hips up and then see if you can release that strap and get your hands to support your pelvis. And remember, you want those elbows in close, underneath you even. See if you can get those those elbows underneath you. Now pull one knee to your chest. Do you see what I'm saying, Peggy? You still need to be closer with your chair. And make sure that all four legs are on the mat, otherwise it's going to keep sliding on you. And they're not. Your back legs are on the carpet, not the mat. And so every time you push, it's going to slide. And, after you do each side, then come back and rest. And I want you to re-roll your shoulders. John and Peggy, you both need to get your shoulders more underneath you. Now, I'm not saying you're not doing the best you can. I'm just saying that that's the direction you need to be working on. Okay. So go ahead and when you're ready, do the whole sequence again, pulling apart with that strap, rolling those arm bones under, and then releasing the hands to support your pelvis. Remember, you're still lifting from your tailbone. Then pull your right knee into your chest, straighten the leg up. Now, notice what you're losing in terms of, the center kind of around your belly area. Make sure you're still lifted. And go to the left leg. Pull the left knee in. and lift it up. Reach it. So as you're reaching the leg, you're pushing down into the chair with the other foot to get more height. And then come back down and lower yourself. Okay. So then you raise your hand if you want to go a little further. If you feel like you've had all you can do, that's fine too. We can stop here. Okay, so I've got one vote for going further. Sorry, Erin, you're outvoted. Okay, so let's roll off of the mat or off the props and just move everything off of your mat. Don't worry, we're going to continue over time to work on shoulder stand until it starts to feel more second nature. So once you get all your props off of your mat, come onto your belly. And reach those legs out of your hips and roll the thighs in from the front. John, if you can stagger y'all's mats where you're not right into Lisa's feet, and so you can stretch your arms forward, I think you will have, it'll just take some of the having to deal with obstacles. So if you could bring your mat's length, or not length, but width forward of Lisa's. And Lisa, I'll just say, I'm assuming you're hearing me, so you might want to consider that in y'all's setup in the future. Okay, so laying on the belly, stretch your legs back and roll your thighs in from the front, and then press the toenails down into the floor until your knees kind of lift. Now pull your buttocks flesh down like you're gonna wrap it down over your hamstrings. Bring your fingertips back in line with the center of the chest. Pull back on your hands as you reach back through your legs and lift your head, your shoulders, and your chest. Press the pubic bones down. Lift any amount more through the strength of your back, more than through pushing with your hands. So just try to lift up on the inhale. 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 Lift up. And then exhale, go all the way back down and relax. Okay, so we're going to do a Shalabhasana that's similar to the one that we did before we did the shoulder stand. And again, pressing the feet down until the knees lift. We're going to take the hands back onto the sacrum, palms up. And then as you inhale, lift and sweep your right arm out to the side and forward. And then exhale, bring it back and put your forehead on the floor. Engage your legs, pull those buttocks flesh down. Inhale, other arm sweeps out to the side and up. Look toward your fingertips. Exhale, come back down. Inhale, bring both arms forward and reach. Exhale, come back. Relax. And again, press down. Inhale, right arm sweeps up. Exhale, back. Left arm on the inhale sweeps forward. Exhale, back. Both arms. Reach them forward. Exhale, come back. And relax. Okay, let's go ahead and come back up to seated. Get your bolster and a blanket. And maybe you'll want your strap. So you're gonna sit, we're gonna do Paschimottanasana. We're gonna sit up onto the blanket. We're gonna take our bolster and put it across the shins, okay? Not the knees. And then roll your front thighs in. Find the very center of your heels. Now we're gonna start without the strap. Okay, so just put your hands on your bolster. Push down and see if you can get some lift in your spine. And as you're pushing down with your hands, press down with your legs. Then just start to walk your hands over the back end of the bolster. Now from there, if you can, bend your elbows. Just put your whole forearm and your elbow down on your bolster. So it takes you down, but not very much. Then lift your chest and look straight out to the horizon. Shoulder blades down. Keep pressing the legs into the ground. Now, just find your strap. Keep your elbows, if you've got them on your bolster, keep them down. And just put your strap around your feet and pull back on your feet. Okay, so you could even take your elbows back further. But when you pull back on your feet, particularly the little toe side of the foot, you'll feel, hopefully, the backs of the legs pressing more. You can pull your elbows back. So, just keep in mind that the idea here is we're trying to keep our back long. We're trying not to just round it. And we're using the bolster to kind of press down the legs. Press down the shoulders. So we're giving ourselves some leverage. And then release. Okay. So now just take your bolster and put it on the ground with the chair behind what would be behind it a good distance. And then sit with your back to the chair. And bend your right knee, stretch your left leg out to the left. We're going to do Maharishi 3, which we have been doing on the wall with the block. So this is just a little variation. Please notice how far back. I'm just going to reach back to find my chair and make sure it's at the right distance. Okay, so then come back. Just relax. And just remind yourself that you want to be turning from your ribs. So take an inhale and get long. And reach that right arm, left arm around the right knee. And then you're going to take I'm mirroring, so I'm kind of having some issues here. Take that right arm back onto your chair. Okay, palm down. palm down. Is your palm, okay, your palm's on the floor, Peggy? Just give me a little nod. Your palm on the floor? I mean, on the, okay. It looked like it was turned up, so I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so now draw that right shoulder blade down. Right down, so you're too close, Peggy, 'cause that's why you're having trouble taking that arm bone down. Let your elbow bend. Let the elbow bend down. Elbow bends down. Now, take your left arm up by your ear and turn a little more, and then bring the left elbow to the outside of that right knee. Lift the chest up, try to lengthen through your front body. Breathe. Each inhale, you lengthen. Each exhale, use this right arm to help turn you. So use it as a lever to open, kind of peel open those ribs. Release. Bend your left leg and stretch the right leg out. Grab hold of that left leg and then open that left arm back. Inhale, elongate. Exhale, turn. Let's go ahead and include the right arm. So reach the right arm up, reach and take the elbow to the opposite side. And breathe and turn. And release. All the way back. And then we're going to go back to Paschimottanasana. So go ahead and take your blanket again. And sit on the blanket again with your bolster closer to your knees than your ankles. You just don't want the weight on your knees. So, but it can be way up almost on your knees. Make sure you've got your strap somewhere close. And just put your hands down on that bolster, remembering the point of this is to try to get length in the spine. It's always about length in the spine. So pushing down on the hands to lift the spine, lift the chest. Take a couple of breaths here and start to walk your fingers like you're going to walk them over. Well, not like you are, you're walking them over the back side of the bolster. And then bending at the elbows. Pushing the elbows down to push the bolster down, to push the legs down. Engage the navel back into your body and try to elongate from your back, from pulling up through the low back, through the mid back, through the upper back, through the neck, through the crown of the head. As though somebody had a little string on the crown of your head pulling you forward. Then find your strap, put it around the ball mounds and pull the feet back. You're not straightening your arms. Dig those elbows down into your bolster as you pull back, but keep trying to elongate through your back. And then breathe. Soften the tops of your shoulders. Elongate the back of your neck by drawing your chin down and in a little bit. And release. Okay. So just we will use the bolster here. So, but you don't need the blanket or the strap. So you're gonna lay on your back again. Okay, so let me just say this. There's two ways to come into this. Because I know sometimes this is hard for people to do without totally shaking their body all up. So we're doing supported bridge. So I could come into it by just lifting my hips. And if I can lift them high enough that I can just slide that bolster under me without having to, go all over the place, you can just do that. That's, to me, is the easiest. Or if you know you can't lift your hips up that high, then come onto it, sit on it, and then come back from there so it's under you. Okay, and then roll your arm bones out, and then turn your forearms and your hands down. And then just enjoy this kind of counter pose to the Paschimottanasana. Just relax, let your back release. And if you feel like you need more release than just being in this shape, pull one knee into your chest. Release your low back completely. And then do the other side. If you don't feel like you need that, you don't need to do that. So now just relax, feel your breath in your belly. Okay, so now lift your hips up a little bit away from the bolster and just push it down so you're bringing it under your thighs or your knees for Shavasana. And if you want, a blanket for your head, just pull your blanket underneath your head and get those shoulder blades on your back. Keep the arms open, shoulders rolled out, chest open. Make sure that the clean edge of your blanket is just touching the tops of your shoulders, not under your shoulders, just touching. There's something very comforting about having the blanket just touching your shoulders. It really lets your neck relax. Now go to your heart center, right in the middle of your chest. And imagine that you are breathing, like your nose is there. And you're breathing in and out from your heart center. And don't force it. And don't, breathe real strongly, just like a natural breath, but in and out through your heart. Just feel the expansion of the heart center as you inhale, and how the heart center kind of goes back into its cave as you exhale. It's kind of natural flow and natural kind of rhythms of life. How things expand and recede everywhere. Think of the tides. As the tides flow in, coming closer and closer into land, and how they just sink back, leaving imprints on the sand. Whatever image might help you to just stay with this internal rhythm, this ebb and flow. It's constantly going on all the time. We have all these cycles in our bodies, cycle of day and night, cycle of your breath, cycle of your nervous system as it goes from sympathetic when the heart beats, and parasympathetic in the space between the beats. We have other cycles. We have seasonal cycles. Women have their menstruation cycles. We have cycles every 7 years in the way that our bodies turn over cells and so forth. And we're not in charge of any of that. Our minds so like to think that we're in control of life. But when you start to get down to this basic foundational level, we realize that there's so much that goes on that we have no control over. Most of the time, we don't even think about it and we don't need to think about it because it's all just happening. We don't usually really pay much attention unless things aren't happening as they should naturally. Many times we see that first in our breath and the way that our bodies are not going sympathetic to parasympathetic easily. And that starts to affect our sleep cycles. And then our sleep cycles affect everything. Okay, so take a deeper, fuller breath and just start to move your ankles in circles and maybe your wrists in circles. Move your fingers and your toes. And then bend your knees and roll over onto your right side. And then press yourself up. And come into a seated position, maybe on your bolster, maybe on your blanket, or even in your chair if that's the most comfortable. But just sitting in cross-legged position with the long spine. Just kind of noticing if at least you feel a little more flexible, a little less stiffness in your joints. Let's bring the hands together at the heart, bow the head. Just thank yourself for taking this time. May we have faith to know the divine enriches us, invigorates us, is present with us throughout our day. Namaste. Okay, my dears. I hope you feel like you're kind of moving more towards shoulder stand, with a little more opening in your shoulders, a little more strength in your upper back, a little more connection to your core, because all those things are necessary for getting upside down. Okay. Have a good weekend. I will see you next time. Namaste.